Lord, you would think we were out of practice, like we haven't done this before. Let us know you can see us, you can hear us, and we will get started with this show. What are we looking like? What are we looking like? Joe is in here.
Bam. All right, I'm
Bam.
in. I'm in.
Thank you, Patty G. Welcome to Hellbent Live. Gosh, it's been a minute since we've had a Hellbent Live.
It's been like 2
weeks?
freaking weeks
Yeah.
since we've been
here.
so.
But we are here. We're alive. We're functioning for the most part. We are surviving this insane heat wave that is going on. I know everybody is struggling through the heat wave right now. We are so glad that we are able to stay home through the week right now, but we are going to go back into the woods in a couple of days or so. Wish us luck, although we are going to a mountainous area, so it won't be as bad, although it is sort of a southern Amazon jungle of a place. So we're excited about that. We are excited to be here with you guys today, rocking and rolling. We've got a spicy show. I mean, it don't have to get spicy, but you know it's going to. You know it's going to spice up.
It will spice up.
It's gonna spice up.
A couple quick housekeeping things. As you can see, we are wearing our Bigfoot Society patches tonight.
We are.
You guys follow us on social media, or you look at the community posts that we have on our channel on YouTube. You know that our good friend and buddy Jeremiah Byron from Bigfoot Society is fighting cancer right now. He's going to kick its ass, but he needs a bunch of people in his corner, and he needs the community in his corner.
Absolutely. So there is a link in the description of the show where you can go and donate to his GoFundMe, and that helps support him and his family through his fight through cancer. He's going to come out on the other side stronger and meaner than ever.
And I know times are tight right now, and everybody's barely hanging on, but it's the Bigfoot community is a lot larger than a lot of what people think. It's a damn big community, and if everybody just gave a couple of bucks, by God, we would be able to really kind of offer him some support. He is less than halfway to his goal. I'm gonna also put this in the chat.
And he has been a huge supporter and been with us pretty much since the beginning.
Jeremiah is one of the first friends we made when we kind of went public with all this. Jeremiah, Aaron Deese, a couple other people that have kind of fallen by the wayside, but those were like two of our original friends. And Jeremiah he's been a huge supporter of ours, both in front of the scenes, behind the scenes. Every time we have needed some input on an area that we're going into, Jeremiah is always the first to offer it. And I'm telling you right now, if we had more people like Jeremiah in the community would be a lot better.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So,
I do owe him my life too from the Tennessee camp out, because the way I am, I was going to stay in those woods.
Yes.
And there was a terrible storm coming through, and I probably would have been crushed like a little bug underneath the tree.
Yes,
if
indeed.
it wasn't for Jeremiah telling me, we've got to get out of here. We're all going to die.
We're all going to die, Jesse. So
that was what convinced me to be like, all right, time to go. Time to get out of here.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Just him walking up and how big his eyes were. And he's like, we've got to get out of here, Jesse. We're all going to die.
Oh.
And then a couple of seconds later, there's trees falling down all around us as the winds come in.
So definitely time to take it seriously at that point. So if you can help out, just hit that GoFundMe. It is in the chat right now, but it's also in the description of this show. There's a link to his GoFundMe there. And of course, prayers always help as well.
And like I said, he's gonna get through it. He's gonna get through this. He's gonna beat its ass. But like I said, when stuff like this goes on, there's so many little things that kind of pile up in addition to the big things.
Yeah.
I've seen the community rally for other people before who have dealt with lesser things, and hopefully the community will really kind of come through. The Hellbender community immediately sprang in and really did a lot of good. A lot of the people that are in this chat right now went above and beyond. This is for those people that haven't seen it as of yet. So for you, maybe you've never really considered donating to a channel or donating to anybody involved in the Bigfoot community. And that's okay. But, maybe this time, $5-10 even, you know what I'm saying, might help him and his family a lot more than what you expect.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps on that. Scorpius says, I was in no hurry to leave the woods either. A storm was nearly dead when it reached us. Yeah, if it was up to me and Scorp, we would have all been crushed like little bugs.
All been crushed like little bugs. So
we had no sense of self-preservation. So thank you to Jeremiah for shoving us out of the woods there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you can contribute to that, please do. We highly, highly encourage that.
Yep. And again, this is for those people that haven't seen it yet. A lot of you in this chat, we posted it, and his GoFundMe had a lot of movement suddenly after that. We've got like the absolute best community in the Bigfoot and cryptid and paranormal.
Dare you say they are down like 4 flat tires?
Down like 4 flat tires, man. So we were talking to somebody about that. Who were we talking to about that? And I was like, you don't know what the Hellbenter community is like, man.
Probably Brooke,
and the responsibility.
Brooke and Steve.
Yeah, the responsibility that comes along with that. I said, because they're so quick to jump into action when everything comes up like that. We always have to make sure that it's for like a really, really good cause, because they'll just jump in like immediately because everybody's like so freaking awesome. So anyway.
Sharon, you all right there?
As I cough. So.
Sharon, I love watching you guys. We love having you guys around. I just dropped a goofy little members only video. So where I encounter the wood's most deadly creature, the bullfrog.
We were in Blood Mountain, Georgia.
Yes.
For about a week.
Yeah, let's do a little debrief on that.
We're a little excited to be back tonight. We're gonna be all over the damn place. It's weird how you I remember when you first said it, man. I don't even know how many years ago it was, but you were like, hey, let's do like a live show. And I'm like, what the hell are we gonna talk about on a live show? Nobody's gonna watch that.
I don't think anybody's ever accused you of not having something to talk about.
Well, and then I just went, I mean, I'll do it. I just don't really. It sounds kind of like torture to me, but I'll do it. And now it's like such a big part of our week.
We've really been kind of off kilter the past couple of weeks not doing this. And so last week we got home kind of late from our expedition. We had a huge, I marked one on here if you want to take a look at it. I marked, where am I at? We were last Tuesday. We wanted to do the show so bad, but we had just gotten in from a huge expedition. We were out in Blood Mountain in North Georgia. We had a multi-day investigation where we brought on 2 special guest field investigators. And it was an absolute blast. We brought back Steve Strange from Surviving the Strange. You may remember him from The Land Between the Lakes, Dogman Massacre. He was part of that. That's where we first introduced Steve, and he joined up the team. And then we also added in Brooke Moreland.
From Dark Florida. Get a couple of broads out in the woods there, man. We were looking for somewhere to do the next STM documentary on. And we had 2 people in the chat one night.
Yeah, on this show.
This show. Bring up encounters that they had in that area. And we try to listen to where the universe takes us to. If the universe is trying to push us in a direction, nowadays we don't fight it.
I believe it was during that time also, like Joe said, anytime the universe is kind of pushing us somewhere, we have stopped kind of resisting at this point. And when we are at a low point and we're struggling with something, we're fighting against something, and we don't know what to do, and you encounter a lot of difficult decisions when it comes to doing this. And there's no way you can know what's going to happen next or what you should do. We were encountering that. We were encountering insane difficulty with our location that we had selected for that film. And we were behind schedule. We were at our wits' end. We didn't know what to do. And then on this show, 2 people brought up encounters in that area. And that was it. That was the answer to our troubles right there. We got them to email us, and we did some scouting missions. We did some investigations. We brought in the other 2 investigators. We did an extended expedition out there for many days. And I am so excited to share with you guys what we got. So that's going to be our next feature film for Small Town Monsters. It's going to be coming out probably mid-August. I am starting the edit right now on everything, and we've got a couple more investigations we're going to do. But I've got to tell you, Blood Mountain definitely delivered when it comes to activity, and not just Bigfoot activity. And this is what rolls us into the topic today. We're talking about not just Bigfoot and Bigfoot field investigations, but what happens when you go on a field investigation and things take a more paranormal turn.
Let me jump into this real quick.
Jump
Amy
in.
True, far into the mystic Appalachian mountains of Georgia, they called her the Frog Whisperer. And somebody had asked, I think it was Sharon had asked, what were you trying to pet in that video that you just, that was a giant bullfrog.
Yes.
Which you heard in there. And what's weird is that they got some big ass bullfrogs out there. Big ass bullfrogs.
We need to change this to a frog channel.
I'm down with that.
It's the
Frogs,
hunt,
turtles.
The hunt for the frog man continues.
So so there's tons of like big
Hellbent comes to Frogtown.
And that is a reference to the great movie with the late great Roddy Piper, Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Have I thrown you off?
Lost my train of thought. Damn, lost my train of thought.
Right. Let's get you back there.
So,
huge frogs.
Thank you, Amy, for that so much.
Thank you, Amy.
There were some big ass bullfrogs through there in one area of the woods, and I got to review the audio. Either there were some even bigger bullfrogs, or it sounded like something imitating bullfrogs. I don't know. We'll find out. But this is gonna be a multi-layered kind of show tonight, which is a nice way to say unorganized and bouncing around off topic to topic. But
I am here, so
we let the universe kind of steer us towards Blood Mountain. That is an area that we have really not spent a lot of time in, even though it's fairly close to us. And we went there. It was the terrain's like rough. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing mostly flatland type stuff. You know, we did like Sumter, we did like, you know, the LBL, the areas that we've been like investigating in between the big stuff was, you know, they've been mostly like flatter type things. And you know, this ain't the Rockies, but it's got some elevation. So that was kicking our butt. But we brought on Brooke and Steve. Steve, you guys know from, again, the LBL doc. Brooke Moreland from Dark Florida is like Wonder Woman. How did I describe it? I said, Steve or somebody had said that Brooke was kind of like Laura Croft. And I said, you were like a crazier and more aggressive Sarah Connor.
Oh.
So you guys were like a good little match there. But we brought Brooke on, and man, it was like, I usually do the filming, as you guys know. So
you are cryptozoology's greatest cameraman.
But it was so much fun, like filming like the three of them, and just kind of, because we really need to have somebody film me filming you guys sometimes to see what people do. Because a lot of times I'm like filming over my shoulder, walking ahead of them at the side, you know, you're seeing real life, but I try to like kind of mix it up a little bit so you kind of see stuff. Because back in the day, you know, we were just holding cameras steady and trudging along, and I try to bring some art to it. But it was just so cool because everybody was like so physically capable. Everybody had
enthusiastic.
Everybody had a different perspective.
Work ethic.
Brooke was obviously the wild card because we've never really like been out in the field with her before, and she just meshed like that. It was just insanely. I mean, I had really high expectations, and she blew the expectations out of the water. It was like amazing. So we go up there, and you know, Blood Mountain. Got a couple quick things here, real quick. Wolfman, I'm excited to hear what you guys found out there. Well, you will hear a little bit about that tonight, my friend. And then our buddy Sherry Tango, from Banana Town to Frog Town. We were evolving and we'll need t-shirts.
I have just written that down. I think welcome to Hellbent.
Hellbent comes to Frog Town. So
it's a pretty cool.
So let's not look at the areas that we usually investigate. Let's look at the areas that we've investigated with the big STM documentaries. Okay. We did the URIs, which, you know, gets a lot of like Bigfoot attention. You know, there's a lot of Bigfoot groups up there and everything like that. It's not really, I wouldn't say it's nationally known outside of maybe Mike Green's Squeaky Thermal. And then, you know, Finding Bigfoot did an episode there, but we did that, you know, and we had been to URIs before though, you know, we had some familiarity with it. And then Sumter was a brand new kind of thing for us, you know.
That was definitely that was unexpected. What happened in Sumter was completely unexpected. We didn't have a lot of historical encounters in Sumter. It was a prime area. We figured out it was a prime area for activity. It fit our pattern that
there was
we've
a
developed.
recent sighting.
There was that recent sighting, but there wasn't a ton of historical sightings like in some of these other locations. Like Blood Mountain has a ton of historical sightings.
Well, and the other thing too is that, and then the LBL, you know, the LBL is the LBL. It's got a lot of like modern folklore attached to it. Beast of LBL, is it real? Is it not real? What did we record on audio? What have we seen on thermal there? What did we interact with, especially on this last doc? I don't know. Is there a dog man? I don't know. But Blood Mountain carries a certain weight to it as far as like a history and a presence in like Native American folklore. The Cherokee, and I'm going to back it up on this real quick. The Cherokee, we're in the area where, you know, the Cherokee had settled. And I don't know how it is in other parts of the country. The Cherokee are batting 1,000. Every area that they have a significance to, as far as like what we would consider cryptid or paranormal activity, what they would consider spirit or witch activity or anything like that. All of these areas that they said were active, they're active. There's still activity going on there. And Blood Mountain is definitely no different. Blood Mountain was considered home of the Nunahi, which the Nunahi were a group of entities in Cherokee. When I say folklore, I'm not really saying it's like made up, just their legends and lore. And the Nunahi were basically the people that could live anywhere. The closest approximation to that a lot of people would be familiar with would be Western European like elves, not like the Keebler elves, but more like Tolkien type elves.
Yes.
You know, the size of human.
I like that you had to clarify the Keebler elf.
Not the Keebler elves.
Distinction.
Not like Santa elves, but man-sized, you know. The Cherokee were very careful to kind of like specify that the Nunahi weren't spirits of the dead. They weren't gods. They weren't monsters. They weren't witches. They were just almost like another race of like mystical people.
Beings, you know, separate from anything else.
The Nunahi have a very otherish kind of quality to them. They're another race. They're like a sister species to the Cherokee. They would aid Cherokee lost travelers. There's one story where they aided the Cherokee in battle, came and assisted them on that. They would live in these townhomes that would be invisible for the most part, but certain times of the year and whatnot, they would become visible and the Cherokee would see them. So the Cherokee considered Blood Mountain basically a haven for the Nunahi, these human-sized mystical creatures that appeared human-like but weren't. They had abilities far in excess of what normal people have. And Blood Mountain is very just heavy with like the lore and the legend of the Nunahi at this point. Not to mention, there's a boatload of like Bigfoot sightings up there, like a boatload of that entire area around there has some like crazy Bigfoot sightings.
A variety of sightings as well. Everything from Class A sightings all the way through the gamut. There was a sighting out there that is going to be kind of significant to the story itself that we're going to be telling of a Bigfoot that breaks our pattern. If you remember Joe and I doing a presentation at Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference, Tennessee Wildman, concerning the Appalachian Sasquatch, in that presentation, we talked about how the land itself forms and shapes the Sasquatch based on these encounters people have had and descriptions people have given, that the Appalachian Sasquatch seems like it's more wily, it's smaller, it's more aggressive. There's one story from the Blood Mountain area that really stood out to us, and that was of a very, very large Sasquatch. We're talking like a 9-foot tall, insanely broad Sasquatch. So that really stood out to me in particular about this.
The guy called it Goliath.
He referred to it as Goliath. So we investigated an area around there, and that area didn't disappoint either. We had a lot of aggressive activity that went down while we were all out there.
So that part of Georgia, it's weird. It's weird. And you feel weird up there. You feel, and I'm not even saying, I'm going to say this too, probably the least sketchy place we've ever investigated. You know what I'm saying?
That was really amazing.
It was kind of, where normally you go into some of these areas, and especially the spots we go into in the middle of the night, we're alone. It's a little sketchy sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And this area just seemed like magical. Real quick, our buddy Hawk, we want more jokes. Thank you, buddy. I think that heat has probably gotten to you, my friend. So
one more Joe. You got it right here. Oh, more Joe on camera. Joe has been so behind the camera on a lot of these now, and I think he's enjoying that. He's really enjoying that. He's enjoying being our cinematographer.
Thank you for that, Hawk. We appreciate you, buddy. But this area had like a certain like mystical nature to it when we went into it. And that's before all the weird stuff started happening.
So this area also was the site of a major battle between the Cherokees and the Creeks. And there was what appears to be an ambush there where the Cherokee ambushed the Creeks, and the Cherokee were the victors there.
Yeah. And it's
but we were in the exact area where that occurred. And I'll tell you right now, you felt a charge to the air when we were out there. We've been out there on several occasions up to this point for this project. And it's the air out there is absolutely electric.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Marjolaine Martin. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Had to work through that.
Had to work through that and put my glasses on. And then our buddy Grizz Ranger, member for 32 months. Grizz is an OG. He's an OOG.
OOG.
He was around before we launched anything. Hey, guys, can't wait to see the Blood Mountain documentary, Digger in the Shirt. Joe, do you guys know the pressure I am under being the only one who can prevent forest fires, and just the weight that is on my shoulders? It's insane. It keeps me up at night. But we go into Blood Mountain, and man, if you guys have been watching this, you know I struggle with this stuff, man. When it gets right down to it, we don't know what Bigfoot is. You know, there are times even where I go, there is no Bigfoot. People are experiencing like an outdoor paranormal phenomenon that is expressing itself in a way that plays to this like beast man archetype that everybody's got and like their lizard brain there, you know, and there's no real Bigfoot in the classical sense. I go to that sometimes. And then other times I'm in areas and you just look over the vastness of it and the wildness, and you go, there's people here, but they're very centrally located. They're only on this trail or in this campground. And if I wanted to be out here and I could live off the land and stay hidden, I could do it. So if I could do it, why couldn't a Sasquatch do it? And I had one of those moments in Blood Mountain where I'm walking around going, you know, it's a Appalachian Trail goes through there. There are areas that are very heavily hiked through there. And then there's just miles and miles and miles of just mountainous wooded terrain that nobody in their right mind goes into. And I had one of those moments where I went, this could be one of those spots where that stereotypical flesh and blood Bigfoot could be at. And I'll be honest with you, I had that feeling there more than anywhere else we've gone to.
He had that hope. That hope was just still clinging
there.
deep within his heart.
I was the flesh and blood Bigfoot guy that wasn't interested in anything else. And I'm always just going, damn, I want a classic like Bigfoot hunt. That's what I want. I don't want to mess with any of this weird stuff. I don't want to mess with that. I just want to get back to my roots. Bigfoot, that's what I was into. Wasn't into any of this other weird stuff. But I'm there and I'm just going, I feel it here. I feel that this is where we're going to really experience some classic, like the Bigfoot that everybody, like the Jack Link's beef jerky Bigfoot, that type of thing. Just a big, hairy primate running around the woods. It's eating and crapping and having babies, and it just lives there. And as usual, I am not the most perceptive or intuitive person on the planet because that was very quickly disabused. We ran into more of the woo type Bigfoot activity there.
We actually, and this might not even make it into the final version of the Blood Mountain film, but on the very first night we were out there and we were going down into that valley, Steve experienced what can only be described as apportation.
Apportation you usually hear in haunted house cases, poltergeist activity. And that's where an item suddenly vanishes, sometimes right in front of people's eyes, and then it'll appear later on somewhere where it couldn't possibly have gotten to. Apportation, let's just call it teleportation, because that's basically what it is. An apport is an item that has been transported like that. We're all wearing chest rigs. If you guys have like seen our chest rigs, we were the first people in like the Bigfoot community to wear them. And then Alex Petikoff got one.
But Alex made a video on it.
And then Alex made a video on it and it just blew up. So everybody has chest rigs now. But those chest rigs, especially if you have like a handgun in there, it's very heavy on your chest. Like when we take them off, we've got a square of sweat there. Very heavy. And I will sometimes even take like my gloves off and kind of tuck them under my chest rig. And you feel it there. You feel the gloves pressing into your chest under the weight of it. It's very tightly fitted. You know, got a handgun in there. It's heavy on your chest. And you feel it. But Steve lost a flashlight that he had hooked on
the exterior.
And he lost it. He just couldn't find it anywhere. So we thought he had dropped it.
So Joe, actually, we were coming up the mountain at that point, and Joe was like, I'll go find it. And I was like, oh no. So Joe threw all of his stuff off, and Joe starts running down back into the valley, and we lose sight of Joe completely.
Got a headlamp and a flashlight. I figure it'll jump out at me very easily. I go down a mile or so, don't see anything. I get to the last spot where he thought he had it. I start hiking back up the mountain. I get up close. I hear them kind of calling for me, and I just go, hey, I couldn't find it. And they're like,
you're not going to believe this.
He found it. And he basically went, I was standing there, and then I just all of a sudden felt something under my chest rig. And it was his flashlight.
What's crazy is when he realized it was gone, he was like feeling all over. He was pressing down. He was, you know, because you do that when you lose something, you're like, crap, didn't I have this here? Where did I have this? Looking, open it up, look around, move it around. I've lost it. And then Joe went down, and then Joe's coming back up. While Joe was down there, all of a sudden he felt it. He felt it in the center underneath his chest rig. It wasn't attached to anything. It was just pressed.
You don't mistakenly miss something underneath those chest rigs.
No.
It would have been like a giant rock in your shoe. You just don't all of a sudden suddenly feel it after it's been there for a while. That's the best analogy for it. Very weird, but very subtle. You know what I'm saying? Very subtle. And we just had very weird, spooky Bigfoot activity off and on for the entire week.
Absolutely.
Our buddy Smog, one of our holler ballers.
Smog,
one of our holler ballers, another OG, gifted 5 Hellbent Holler memberships. I don't know who the lucky people are out there that got those, but welcome to the membership.
Michael Tovar, thank you for that super chat. Hi, Jesse and Joe. Can't wait to watch the new doc in August. It's going to be, you know, we never know what's going to happen when we go into these.
Yeah.
You try to have some sort of plan in mind, but at this point, we've just figured out, just go with it, see what happens, and then go from there. We did not expect we didn't expect the terrain that we came across. We didn't expect some of the historical locations that we found doing this, and we didn't expect the variety of activity and even the paranormal bent of the activity like we're discussing here.
It kind of brings that thing with like the woo side of Bigfoot back up into the forefront of the conversation. Thank you for that, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Our buddy Hawk Joe was out mowing in this humid heat earlier, and it felt 98. Yeah, it got hotter, but there was a breeze. It still felt 107 at 6. It is roastingly hot here. Wolfman asked, is Goliath near Lake Winifred Scott Campground?
Winfield,
whatever it is. Winfield.
It's
Winifred.
always Winifred.
I think I said Winifred pretty much the entire time I was out there.
So Wolfman is actually one of the individuals who gave us one of those encounters over near Lake Winifred Scott. It is not near there. We did find sort of a pattern of sightings and like a whole area that I kind of mapped out, which you guys will see. But Goliath was not near Winfield Scott, actually. It was in another one of our investigation areas. But we did have some interesting stuff happen at Winfield Scott.
Yeah. And it's
and I want to talk about all this stuff, but I don't want to have spoilers.
Yeah, we don't want to do spoilers, but our buddy Andrew, Baby Shark, whoops, yes, snack fun and knife check. Do a knife check. We're going to get knife check out of there early. I'm rocking.
Usually it's Miranda.
Usually Miranda Crew asks for a knife check, but I am running a titanium handled Strider knockoff because the real Striders don't lock up that well.
Shots fired.
Well, I mean, they just don't. I don't. That's just all it is. But crazy blade grind on that. It's wicked. It's cool as hell. But that's what I'm carrying today.
Joe got me this knife. It's amazing. It's a CRKT. It's a mini ritual, right?
Yeah, it's rituals.
It is. Of course, it looks like a ritualistic blade. This is one of my favorite blade shapes of all time. The Cold Steel Black Sable looks very similar to this, but you've got this beautiful, beautiful blue and gray and black infused carbon fiber. You got some titanium on there. You got some Damascus on there, but it's a beaut. It is a beaut. And this does come in a larger size, but because I got these tiny little child hands, it's a tiny little child knife.
A knife for a baby.
A baby, a secret baby knife.
Well, so we went in expecting a Bigfoot hunt, a stereotypical Bigfoot hunt, based upon the lore of the land, the encounters that had been seen out there. We knew of the Cherokee legends because obviously we pay careful attention to those before we go into the area. We got up there and it was a lot weirder than what we expected. But luckily, we're one of those groups that can pivot on a dime and we can handle pretty much almost anything that comes our way just because we look into a variety of stuff. And at this point, we have a variety of interests.
Deborah Farrell Queen.
Deborah Farrell Queen.
Hi, Jess Joe. I'm sure everyone would agree that there isn't any other group that produces expeditions like Hellbent Holler. We have a new camera. I don't know if you saw this, Deborah, but we have a new camera. It's the that I recently purchased called the Farrell Cam.
The Farrell Cam.
Yes.
Deborah assisted us in getting that camera, more than assisted. And
but yes, so now I have the Farrell Cam, and in my show last night, I showed a little clip of me using its amazing slow-mo capabilities. So I'm super stoked about that. And filming some of these areas and filming some badass waterfalls with it and whatnot.
So we go out.
You're having some.
Well, it's like this because I'm going through one of those like periods of time where you find yourself in like crisis with like the Bigfoot topic. That happens to me like all the damn time.
Yeah, it does.
Because I went from being very certain as to what was going on to pretty certain to what was going on to not having a clue whatsoever as to what's going on.
And it's hard to kind of lose your footing in something like this.
And it's weird because I've seen a lot of chatter online over the last few days because, like if you haven't seen it, Matt Moneymaker and David Pilates are trading pot shots right now.
Wait, did Pilates respond?
I don't know. I've been too busy. I haven't been able to see. But a
Let us know.
Matt Moneymaker was just, talking about how David Pilates, he's a grifter and a scam artist and this and this and this. And then people are looking at Matt Moneymaker going, well, you're one to talk and blah, blah, blah. And, that's just par for the course for the Bigfoot community. That happens. But one of the things that really jumped out at me was like, for some reason, people use this as an opportunity to really kind of like start taking digs at like the woo. And it's so weird because there's so much like vitriol and venom out there on like the ape side of things towards anybody who just acknowledges that there's weird stuff going on. It's just like that's a personal affront to a lot of people. And I always like, I'm not getting into any online arguments with people. Those days are, it's meaningsless and it's useless. But I look at it.
I've heard tell you're a grown ass man.
I'm a grown ass man. So, but just these people going, well, and even some of those arrows started to get fired at the BFRO because people were going, well, the woo is taking over the BFRO, which from an outsider's viewpoint, I didn't think that was the case. I don't know. Maybe it has. And we need to get back to scientific, the scientific nature of this. This is why scientists don't take it seriously. And I always come back to this. I go, scientists don't take it seriously because scientists know how science works. And wildlife biologists and ecologists can look in an area and go, there's no damn Bigfoot here. Okay. So scientists aren't out there going, well, I would take this seriously if these people would stop talking about mind speak or weird lights or anything like that. They don't take it seriously because from a scientific standpoint, it's an impossible phenomenon. From their standpoint, unless they've had a personal experience that lets them know that there are things out there operating beyond the boundaries of accepted science, from a scientific standpoint, we're all ridiculous, okay? Because to them, it's an impossibility. It's an impossible thing. And I get so frustrated because the people who are often screaming most about bring science into Bigfoot research, I'm just going, well, in that case, we should all quit and go home.
Yeah.
Because a scientist is just going to look at this and go, all right, no Bigfoot's here. It's solved. Let's move on to lake monsters now. Oh, no lake monsters here either. Let's move on to something else. And it's these people who don't understand.
I've got a loon to watch.
But, and then you have that kind of just that discussion on your mind, and then you experience stuff. We experience stuff in Blood Mountain, and we're not going to like do spoilers, but we were out there on the summer solstice, and we had relatively minor things happen at that point. And the Hellbender Nation, the Hellbenders, we got people all over the world, man, at this point. We have people all over the world. We have people of every religious background, every sort of like faith and tradition.
Every level of professionalism.
But we have people of all of these different faiths that are into Hellbent Holler. And we put out a call the day of the solstice going, it's been pretty quiet. I need you guys to put out into the universe, however you may individually do it, and ask for it just to show itself.
And that itself was a pretty interesting experiment as well.
Well, first we asked them to move the weather because we were supposed to have rain for most
all right,
of the time.
this weather thing worked.
Weather ended up being fine, which, you know what, that might have just been happenstance. Maybe the weather was going to shift anyway, but it was interesting. But we put that out there, and we had people from all over the world, and I don't even know how many different traditions. Traditional Catholics, Baptists, Orthodox Christians, Wiccans, pagans, a Shintoist,
Zoroastrianism.
And we've just had people from all these different backgrounds just basically putting out energy in their own particular tradition for us to experience something. And the floodgates opened up on the night of the solstice. I don't even know what we were interacting with at that point. We're still in the process of reviewing a bunch of footage. We've got thermal footage that we've got to figure out. We've got anomalous light footage that we have to go through that is already pretty much debunked as far as like it being, well, I guess it's bunked.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite of debunked. We have ruled out any mundane explanations for the lights we caught. it's one of those things where it just kind of, this happens right as this big attack on the woo goes. And I'm not saying Bigfoot's like woo. Bigfoot might be a natural creature that has learned to inhabit areas where other weird crap's going on.
And it seems like the phenomenon is parallel,
Maybe that's the case. Who knows? Maybe there is no Bigfoot and there's something else out there that's just presenting itself that way occasionally, up to and including leaving scat and footprints and running in front of cars and doing all that crazy stuff. But it just really struck home for me the fact that, and other people have their own individual experiences. You always go back to Joe Perdue while we were in West Virginia.
I think everything comes back to Joe Perdue.
Everything always comes back to Joe Perdue. But he had an encounter. He saw a Bigfoot and it was acting like a big monkey. It was like eating and grubbing around.
Yeah.
And like, if I remember correctly, it kind of smelled him, and just because nothing weird happened in that particular incident doesn't mean that weird things aren't happening out there.
But he's coming from the position of that's what he saw and that's what he reported and that's the position he's coming from.
Joe's a master naturalist. So he knows how the natural world works. And then Joe is also a very logical person who will follow it, even if it may seem illogical at first, he's going to follow where the evidence leads. And now they're doing stuff that, like, as far as high strangeness out there, that nobody's doing. But I'm just looking at it going, we always talk about that boggle threshold, that invisible line that everybody's got. I'll believe weird stuff up to this point, and then I ain't believing beyond that because it boggles my mind. Or some people call it the giggle threshold. You just start to giggle after that. This is stupid. This is silly, And I right now where I'm at, man, I think there's experiencing all this stuff. Either we're all crazy, we're crazy, and there's shared delusion going on out there that's been taking place pretty much since people have been around on every continent, every culture, or there's something going on that doesn't conform to the rest of the world with us. There's something going on that doesn't conform to that. Because I come back to that. I come back to an ecologist or a field, like a wildlife biologist. They would be able to go into an area and go, whoa, hold on. There's something here beyond the normal deer and bear and, feral hogs and woodchucks and whatever the hell else is in the area. You don't really see that much, And yeah, people can go, there's a Forest Service cover up, blah, 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 blah. And maybe that's true. Who knows what's going on at this point? But I think that's the key term here. Who knows what's going on?
Well, also, you got to think too. If you try to say that there's some sort of Forest Service cover up, you've got somebody like Sefriel who is from Australia. Yeah. She says that it's also forgotten a lot by most U.S. Bigfooters that these phenomena happen worldwide. Well,
you look at if you were to get a group of scientists of various disciplines in a room and go, tell me why there's no Bigfoot. You're going to have ecologists, and wildlife biologists going, an animal. A bipedal primate that's 1,000 pounds, give or take, that's an omnivore, would need a certain level of caloric intake every day, and you would be able to see the effect of the land. Wildlife biologists and ecologists can go into an area and go, this is what's being eaten here. This is what's being affected in this particular environment. This is what lives here. Because they can tell, because they're trained at that. Some of them will go, well, all the great apes, there's no history of great apes evolving in like North America, and there's nothing in the fossil record for it here, So they would tell you that. So I think if you're going to bring science into it, you just need to go ahead and just shut the door on Bigfoot and go ahead and open it on paranormal stuff. Maybe there's there's wilderness paranormal phenomenon going on out there. There's something going on that, because they say Bigfoot all they want to, it still doesn't change the fact that people are seeing something out there.
Yes, yeah.
People are experiencing something out there. So if you have a group of scientists who know how science works and they know their own particular disciplines going, this is impossible, and it's still happening, that means whatever is happening outside the confines and the limits of consensus science, of what we accept the world to be. And whether you're going to go down the quantum reality neck of woods, or they're interdimensional, or they're, whatever you want to say, it's something else just making us see this stuff. I don't know. But it's obvious that there's something weirder than a bunch of big monkeys running around out here. And Blood Mountain really kind of reinforced that for me. It really kind of reinforced that there's a whole hidden world around us.
Absolutely. And at some point, when does it start getting just kind of, and I don't want to be rude, at what point does it start to get kind of sad that there's such a level of delusion, of denial, of refusal to accept new data? At what point is that, when does that become a problem?
I understand that it's frustrating for people that take this topic seriously, some of the tomfoolery that goes on out there.
Agreed.
I understand that entirely.
Yes.
Because guess what? A lot of, and we got to be honest with it. Like, the whole thing about this is just being
you want
honest.
to lay everything down on the table right now?
A lot of the woo stories out there are not based upon actual experiences. There's a lot of BS out there, and
some of it is a very deeply involved fantasy that
And if
individuals have.
Witnesses of legitimate anomalous activity should feel comfortable to come forward. The biggest barrier to witnesses feeling comfortable coming forward are people who are not being truthful about what they experienced for attention, money, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that happens. We've got to be able to admit that that happens. And we've got to also be able to admit that some of the woo stuff is not logical. Okay? It's not logical. I know a lot of the people that are in this chat right now, I know your personal stories with weirdness. You're still in the chat and you still talk to me because you experienced something strange that you can't explain. And that's where it ends at. You didn't come at me with a weird explanation.
And you still respond with bafflement.
With bafflement. If we followed the simple rule of show your work, show me how so you have the entire Bigfoot phenomenon figured out. Show me how you arrived at this conclusion. What are the steps that you took to get there? Because otherwise it just sounds like you're spinning a bunch of bullshit, and you're just spinning it out of thin air at this point. The most believable people that I know in this field are people that have experienced some really weird stuff. And now they might have their personal theories, which is great. Mm-hmm. Nobody can have something like that happen to them and not try to figure it out. But when you talk to them, they're just like, maybe it's just, I don't know, man, it was weird. And so I understand that the woo carries a lot of bad baggage with it.
For sure. But there's a lot of stigma involved in that. Not only because there's a stigma from, let's say, the outside world people that are just your normies, as it were. Normies. Your everyday people that you meet who think the entire Bigfoot subject is ridiculous on its face, no matter what. It's the same people that look at you and know that you are into Bigfoot and say, oh, have you found him yet? It's the same thing as that. I understand the stigma coming from that, but there's internal stigma as well when it comes to this. And some of it is well earned because there is a segment of people who are just bat-ass crazy.
Margelia, hoping y'all come to Shawnee National Forest. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Shawnee National Forest in Southern Illinois. My first Bigfoot sighting a few years ago. There's everything here. Love y'all. You know what? That might be on the agenda once we get done with small town monsters there.
I like that. We were just invited to a wedding in Illinois.
Tammy, if you're out there, we got your message. We got to respond back to you there, baby. We will get in touch with you.
We've never been to Illinois.
Never been to Illinois. We got to see
Indiana. She invited. Indiana.
So Way of the Sploot, Snack Fund. Thank you so much. But so I understand that the woo carries there's a lot of silliness that takes place there. Okay.
We're not so delusional that we think that, everything is accepted.
We're a little too self-aware because but that's the thing, man. If you're involved in this stuff and you don't have a moment where you just kick back and go, am I crazy? What am I doing with this stuff? Like, if you just don't have those moments where you go, because it's so outside what we were taught the world to be like. And if you don't have those moments where you just go, this is the craziest thing. Like, what am I doing? I mean,
and to be an adult and experience that, as a child, you have that sense of wonderment where, everything in the world is exciting and new to you, but you've lost the ability to accept that there are surprises and new information in the world. As an adult, we lose that ability, that sense of wonder and that sense of mystery. We totally lose that as adults because at this point with these things, You know, we think we know everything and that we've got it all figured out. And now it's just go to work, make a paycheck, pick up the kids from soccer practice, get screamed at by cats. You know, we think that that's all there is to life, but there is this whole hidden world that we're not even aware of. Everyone here is aware of it. Everyone here is open to the mysteries of the world. And I feel like us doing this together and us having this community, we've kind of peeked behind the curtain. Doing Hellbent Holler, you and I have peeked behind the curtain. We've brought people along with us, and we showed them that there is this sense of wonder and magic still left. It's not been beaten out of us. It's not been beaten out of you. It's still here. It's still here, and we're trying to re-enchant the world.
But no one has this figured out at this point. Whether it's somebody who never gets out of the campsite and just spins crazy stories, to somebody who looks like an Indiana Jones knockoff that's out there treating it as a strictly biological animal. If you take all of the data, all of the believable experiences, the little bit of hard evidence that's out there, and you put it all together, I don't see any one answer. And maybe there's more than one thing going on. Maybe there is a very small breeding population of hairy, very intelligent, very gifted creatures that have some sort of prescience about them, something we would consider psychic ability, and they're able to stay hidden. And then there's another more phantasmagoric, like intangible force out there that sometimes presents itself like them.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with more than one thing. I don't know. But that's where we're at on this, is that watching like everybody just shoot arrows back and forth. I'm sorry. The craziest woo person out there who's just making up a crazy story for their own like self-aggrandizement. The person who is just out here talking about Bigfoot's like breeding habits and like their feeding habits and like basically their culture, and you can't show me how you arrived at that conclusion, you're just as bad, you know? And you're just as bad if you're—
What about the Sulphur Springs?
So anyway, so it's just—
there are so many marked cats.
Our buddy Ray, great to see you guys. Les Stroud also recently talked about his orb encounter he had with Stacey Brown. So yeah, there's something to this paranormal stuff. I was talking earlier and I kind of said it tongue in cheek, but I was like, I really like the spot we occupy in like the Bigfoot community. Okay. Mm-hmm. We've never made claims about ourselves as to being anything special that could be basically debunked very easily. We have never claimed we know what's going on. We occasionally go, is this real at all, or are we just crazy?
Every time we get any kind of vocalization or anything like that, we say, we think it's a Sasquatch.
We think it's this.
We think it's a dog man, but we can't say this is with anything.
Or we even sometimes just go, it doesn't match natural wildlife. And Bigfoot's been seen in the area. Is that what we caught? I don't know. We didn't see what made it.
It's awful weird, though.
There are days when I convince myself that Bigfoot doesn't even exist and that we're chasing, like I said, a wilderness paranormal phenomenon.
Wildergeist.
Yeah, like Timothy Renner and all of them say, like a wildergeist, like a spirit of the wilderness. I don't know if it was Timothy Renner or Joshua Cutchin that coined that, but anyway, you know, we're in a really enviable position on that because we've never really made any like crazy claims. You know, we've never made any crazy claims as to anything like that because I don't think anybody can make any crazy claims as to about this, because we've never made a claim of anything unless we had like something to like back it up. We have had a few instances where we've seen stuff, but we always go, that's kind of irrelevant because we don't have anything to show for it. We don't have it on camera. We don't have anything like that. But everything that we've experienced, shadowy figures, weird thermal hits, weird anomalous, like just activity, strange vocalization, stuff like that, we can show you it. And it's up to debate what it is. It's up to interpretation as to what it is. But it was weird and it was real and we experienced and we can like show it, you know? And in my mind at this point, it's kind of hard to grasp. But I went into this so anti-paranormal and anything other than a flesh and blood dogman.
Bigfoot?
I mean, flesh and blood Bigfoot. Dogman I thought was just ridiculous. Fucking werewolves, man? Really?
We had
werewolves?
Dogman Summer.
So But now to me, the paranormal and like high strangeness is undeniably real.
Yeah.
I have no clue what it is. I don't know who that's pontificated on it is right. Sometimes I think I got it figured out and then something happens and I'm back to the drawing board. That to me is realer than a flesh and blood Bigfoot at this point.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. And that's such a weird position to be in. And then to have people,
but it's exciting, isn't it?
it's to have people who, just to be frank with you, don't spend the amount of time in the woods as we do. They don't treat it as seriously as we do. They don't have the investment of time and energy and money and passion into it as we do, saying that the woo is ridiculous. And I'm going, maybe some of those people over there that are just making up stuff out of whole cloth are ridiculous. But you can't deny there's weird crap going on out there.
Mm-hmm. Just
because you want to self-filter, hoping that the mainstream scientific community is going to like notice me.
It's a
notice
desperate,
me, senpai, you know?
Yeah, it's a desperate appeal to authority there.
Yeah.
It's please, somebody from the scientific community, look at me.
And again, until a person from the scientific community has their own undeniable, unexplainable experience, they're not going to believe it because they are scientists.
Do you want to know who I care? Who notices me?
I know what you're going to do. Drop that. Curtis Whitaker on her. Curtis Whitaker. Curtis, my man.
Curtis notices.
Curtis, we appreciate you, my brother. Every week, Curtis, you with us here, my man. Every week, my man.
Curtis shan't hurt us.
Curtis would never hurt us.
Curtis would never hurt us.
So
that's love, Joe.
That is love. Curtis, we love you, my brother. Thank you so much, my man. Wolfman, why can't it be both flesh and blood and woo?
Just like everything else in this world.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. What in this world, what in your life is black and white?
Let's use the parallel to the Nunnahi, the Cherokee Nunnahi. They were a race of like others. They were physical, but they were only seen when they wanted to be seen. They were ephemeral, but they were real. They could touch the environment and interact with the environment when they wanted to.
It's a great way to bring all this around. You've done a great job
and
here. You're doing.
I know what I'm doing.
You're
damn
doing
it.
a great job, Joe.
But it goes right back to that. Humans have always like reported these things, whether it's the Fae coming out of fairy or the Nunnahi that could live anywhere, going back to their invisible townhomes in the mountains. That could only be seen when the stars were aligned or when they wanted you to see them. There's always been this weird blend of physical things that still don't follow the same rules that we do. And I'm sorry, man. And when you have something that exists outside of like the bounds of like normal science, it's hard to prove it through normal science. We pick up some of the stuff on the periphery. Weird thermals,
glimpses
of it that we can get it, but we're blind to people feeling part of the elephant at this point, you know.
I hope I get the front end.
Ass end of the elephant for you, Jessica.
No.
Ass end of the elephant for you. Pam Farish. I believe Pam was a member once before.
Pam's been back around.
Has circled back around to the flock.
You can't quit us, can you, Pam?
You can't quit us.
I understand. As charming as we are, naturally.
Laurel, I've experienced enough that I still believe Bigfoot is out there, even though I haven't seen one. I personally see no reason why they can't exist. Oh, exactly. You know what I'm saying? You can't, if you're.
I think it comes down to just be cool, man.
Just be cool, man.
Just be cool, man.
So and I get back to this, man. Here's the deal. If we need as many people as possible out looking for this stuff in as many different ways as possible. There's stuff that I don't see any value in personally doing it. But if somebody else wants to train themselves on how to do it and spend their time doing it, knock yourself out, man. Maybe you'll be the one that solves it all. And then we'll move on to like the next mystery.
Rick's leaving. Hang on. Rick's leaving. I got to do the wrong.
We got to do the.
Rick Skinner. One more for good measure.
One more for good measure.
This thing goes long.
But
it's got such weight to it, doesn't it?
And that's the thing is that, I don't see any reason. We don't know what's out there, man. We don't know what's out there. But at the same token, if you're intellectually honest with yourself, you get frustrated sometimes.
Sploots out. Good night, Sploot.
Night Sploot. You get frustrated sometimes, and you do have those periods of like self-doubt where you go, am I misinterpreting a lot of stuff? I mean, we spend a lot of time trying to like debunk stuff before we put it out there, because we don't want to, we don't want to be duplicitous. We don't want to put something out that's like all of a sudden debunked by everybody and they're going, can't trust Hellbent Holler anymore. Out there hoax and quartz, for God's sakes. But you still have
You'll never let it go.
That's still the funniest thing imaginable for me. You may have lost my train of thought. But you just, if you're honest about this stuff, you have these moments where you just go, am I crazy? Have I imagined all this stuff? Because we've seen some stuff we haven't been able to get on camera. But you start to kind of doubt yourself a little bit after a while. And if we have that Class A Bigfoot sighting up close and get it on camera, maybe that'll cure us of like any sort of like, uncertainty.
I think that's going to not cure us. I think that's going to put us even further.
Then it's going to be, did somebody just hoax me?
That's going to put us further into madness.
That's going to really probably drive us over the damn edge. That'll padded rooms.
Amy says, give Curtis a gong. I think we need to give him, you know what we need to give him?
What's Curtis need?
He gets a Joe Whoop.
Whoop. Whoop. That's the worst whoop ever. Whoop. That's the worst whoop ever. Whoop. So, the Sploot, if they can't accept new data, why are they researching still? Because in their mind, they're not researching. They're just showing you how smart they are, how knowledgeable I am about Bigfoot. You were looking at two of the most unknowledgeable about Bigfoot people that you've ever seen. I don't really care about a lot of other Bigfoot researchers. It's not dismissive. It's just that we're doing our own thing.
I'm busy, child.
I don't really, people will go, well, what so-and-so said. And I'll be like,
I do not.
I don't really know. I got into this to like look for mysteries, not to study other people who are also looking for mysteries.
And collecting baseball cards here.
Yeah, exactly. We're not into that. So a lot of people seem to have answers. We're pretty invested and involved with looking for this stuff, and we're more confused the longer we do it.
This is a good one here that goes along with that line of thinking. Our boy at Cryptid Castleberry, maybe once you figure out what the high strangeness is, it'll change itself so that you no longer know what it is. Thank you for that super chat. 100%.
The phenomenon or the phenomena, if it's singular or many, it seems to be interactive, and it seems to want a certain level of participation. And I'm going to be honest with you, even if it's not physical, hairy, big primates running around in the woods, it sometimes wants you to treat it like it's that, for it to show anything to you.
What do you look like?
Depends on who's looking. Best line in the Mothman movie ever. What do you look like? Well, it depends on who's looking at me.
That was very cute that we did that.
That was pretty good. Look at that. Oh, look at that.
Very cute.
Yes.
We should date.
Amy says, a USC student at work today told me she had an experience on a road in upstate South Carolina. An intelligent ball of light kept up with their car, vanished into the tree line.
So I marked this because my best friend, Katie Church, who was actually an alumni of USC, had this exact thing happen to her. She was on her way back from somewhere in Pickens. I think she was hiking at 9 times. Remember I took you by?
Yeah.
She was hiking at 9 times in Pickens. And she had this exact same thing happen to her. Could it be that USC students are marked? No, I don't know. But she had this exact same thing happen to her. She was driving along. It followed her car. And then it seems like it absorbed into the forest around her.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's weird is that could be a data point. I think what we're at least realizing is that no matter what it is, if it's a phenomenon that expresses itself in different ways or a cluster of possibly unrelated phenomena, it's so vast and complicated. It may be impossible for anybody to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? You get these people like, John Keel, who think that every single paranormal and cryptid and everything like that is just an expression of the super spectrum. It all has a singular source. You know, maybe that's it. Or maybe that's just a weird ass universe and there's a million weird things that we can't comprehend going on out there. There's a guy whose name I can't pronounce who has a theory called the wild cosmos with a K. And he's just basically saying it's all real, baby. You got elves over here, you got gray aliens, you got Bigfoots, you got Dogman, you got real Bigfoots, you have interdimensional Bigfoots, you have spiritual creatures that express as Bigfoot. It's all pretty much, if you can think of it, it's out there and it's running around. Michaela, Shawnee is intense. We heard the clearest howls echo over the campground. Like, oh, maybe we need to get down there, or up there rather, for us. You already got Cryptic Castleberry, my boy Hawk. I remember when y'all saw whatever y'all saw on the LBL, and I scared a screenshot of you of what others actually saying they have seen the same something, and these were hunters. So they're in the woods a lot. He's talking about those weird, gangly, shadowy, really fast things that we admitted seeing, but we don't ever really talk, especially when we're talking to other people, like doing interviews and stuff like that. Because you know what? There's no evidence to it. We didn't catch it on camera. It's just our word. And unfortunately, in this field, you need something to kind of back it up, at least in my mind. So, but other people have seen them. We saw stuff that other people there have seen. And
I think we're getting closer every day. I hope.
Closer to. I think what's going to happen is that one of these days we're going to get so friggin' frustrated that we're done. We're done. Not even like we should quit. It's just going to be like, I'm done here. We're done. We're going to go pick up a new hobby. Shut down the channels. Start an eBay account.
Yeah, we can't even fake it either.
Can't fake it. But we've been finished before. But I think one day we're going to hit that point where we're really finished, and it's going to have to show us something big.
There's going to be tears.
Or just to keep us coming back. I think whatever's out there is like interactive to a certain extent. It likes the attention. It likes you playing the game. You've got to play the game with it. You've got to, like I said earlier, sometimes it wants you to treat it a certain way. Sometimes it wants you to go out and hunt for Bigfoot, even though Bigfoot might not be what's in those woods at that point. So,
yard hunt. On the damn video with the damn bullfrogs, did you see a damn Bigfoot?
We did not.
We did not.
We did not. But we did see a frog. So.
I almost fell down a cliff while I was trying to film something, and we decided it was probably best that it started pouring the rain.
Yeah.
I almost fell off a cliff. So
we got rained on our last night there. We were supposed to get
decided
rained every night.
it was the damn end of the house before it was the damn end of me.
Smiling Sue still haven't gotten over the shadow being in that cabin.
A lot of people were talking about the City Boy incident and the location of the City Boy. We have not been back to that location where the shadow figure was, where Joe was taunted by the ephemeral being. We have discussed this. We've got one more film due after this one, and then we're going buck wild on everything. But we want to go back. We want to go back, and we're thinking about going back for Halloween this year, for the Halloween special.
We might, but if we do it, there is going to be a part of me never wants to go back to that thing again, because that was kind of traumatic, man. People can say whatever they want to about it. Maybe the nosebleed that I experienced was just weird timing.
Mm-hmm.
That's some weird ass timing. Part of me never wants to go back there again. Part of me wants to go back alone and just set up in there and ring myself with cameras and just sit there alone and see if anything happens. So I don't know which way I'm going to go right now.
Yeah.
As it is right now, we have not gone back.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll do it. Maybe one day I'll go back and like I'll do it there. You know
But the people are very interested in it for sure. Eric Stitt says Joe needs to learn to play the Native American flute like Ron on Wild and Weird West Virginia. Every time he does that, I feel like I'm having some kind of stroke. Yes. I'm gonna tell you, because it's so surreal and so weird. Because they'll be laughing, they'll be goofing, and all of a sudden, Ron just pulls out this freaking flute
and goes all Vulcan weird with it. So,
and you're just like, what is happening right now?
Our buddy finding the trackway. Yesterday's woo was tomorrow's tech. Photos were woo at one time. Well, I mean, if you look at this, yeah, we've got a better understanding of the world than we ever have, really. Well, part of the world. I think a lot of way we've lost like a spiritual kind of connection to it. And I'm not a very spiritual person. So I don't really have a lot of insight or depth.
Much spirit.
Yes, I just don't really have a lot of that. But product of my environment. But it's just weird. I always go back to the UFO, like the UAP thing. The fact that you're seeing congressional hearings, and yeah, some of it might be a psyop, but you're seeing congressional hearings and you're seeing major respectable news organizations cover the topic seriously. You never expected to see that 20 years ago. 20 years ago, UFOs were lumped in with Bigfoot as being equally stupid and silly and crazy. And now all of a sudden, UFOs have like a veneer of respectability to them. Where are we going to be at 10 years from now? Is it going to be people demanding congressional hearings to tell us what the mysterious things in the national forests are that have been covered up for so long? I don't know, But the fact that people used to say that UFOs were just crazy and only crazy people believed in them. And now impartial people will go, I don't know what it is, but there's something there. Something is going on there. Something's going on there. I think we need to be open like that with Bigfoot. Again, I don't know what Bigfoot is, but there's something going on there. There's something happening.
Yeah.
Is it a breeding population of like relic hominid? I have no clue. I have no earthly idea, but there's something there. There's a there. It's just, and I think that when we start to stop trying to act like we have all the answers, no matter what our personal like belief in it is, if you at least just go, well, I think this might be what's going on. But I think all of this, like shouting it from the mountaintops that this is what's happening out there. But then when like uninvolved people go, we have absolutely no evidence for that. You can't show me how you arrived at that conclusion. I think that does a lot of damage to us at that point. So as
Amy Fountain says, thank you for that super chat, Amy. Woo warriors unite. The universe is too large to bury your head in the sand.
Hawk had said, Joe, you got called a city boy. Something spelled out hick for me on my gifting box with magnetic letters I was using. I have to do a crossover, the city boy and the hick. But
you know what? If I did it, you know what it'd say to me?
What?
I'd open the box. I'm like, let's see what the mysterious universe has to say to me. I'd open it up. I'd look down and go, and it would just say, turd.
Something's out there, all right, and it ain't no man. But
Thank you again, Amy, for that.
Thank you, Amy.
Chat.
We appreciate you. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's just that we go back. I just keep going back at this, man.
They're saying the video's glitching, but the audio is stable.
Weirdness.
I don't know. It seems like it's working. Well, yeah, I see what's going on.
Yeah, it is kind of glitching a little bit. So
we do have a lot of weather moving in.
Yeah,
that could be part of it.
We had some inline winds hit that took down a lot of power lines and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if our internet starts going. Is it going now?
You gotta do the wave.
Got to do the wave.
That's how you know.
All right.
They said the audio is stable. Just pretend you see us moving.
Pretend you see us.
We're very stoic.
All right, let's kind of dive into the chat here a little bit.
Absolutely.
Oh, we got Stitch Witch in here. I talked to
What's up?
I talked to Dewey Edwards for a little while today. I talked to my man Dewey.
Dewey made me. I was talking about this on my show yesterday. Brooke. Okay, so I've never used dowsing rods before. Dewey made me a Cadillac set of dowsing rods, and I do mean a Cadillac set. I showed them on the screen last night. But they're like this long. It's the thick gauge copper. They're beautiful. I had never used them before. Brooke showed me how to use dowsing rods on our little trip, on our little expedition. And so I used the dowsing rods the other night that Dewey made me, and they're phenomenal. So I actually got to use them, and I'm going to use them more often now because they're gorgeous. Gorgeous. Art, Joseph.
Art. So anyway, so again, we're not going to do a lot of spoilers for the Blood Mountain thing. We're going to get a couple of solo expedition type things up there before we got to wrap up Blood Mountain and move on to the next thing. Jesse and I are going to go into a couple of areas up there solo. I always find it odd when we go in with larger groups of people. For us, 4 people is a larger group of people. And we still experience stuff.
Yeah. That was amazing.
I don't know if Steve Strange is still in the chat or not. but people can certainly chime in. But none of the four of us walked away from there going, there's just nothing here.
Yeah.
You know, all four of us just went, something weird's going on here. And the night of the solstice, so we're on we're in an area that factored very importantly in Cherokee lore. And we're in a time of the year, the night of the solstice, that's pretty much universal with every culture out there. The solstice, the equinox, everything like that. That's pretty much every culture knows that that's a charged time of the year. And we experience some really weird activity.
Yeah.
I don't know if we experienced Bigfoot activity. We experienced some Bigfoot-like activity with some of the vocalizations that we heard and things being thrown, and we got some weird thermal hits. I'll give you a little teaser. I got a jar of those Sasquatch pheromone chips from that company that was making them. Like, they used them for like the Skookum expedition where they got the Skookum cast. It's ape and human reproductive sense kind of on these chips. And I got them right. I set right before the company stopped making them, and we sealed them up tight. They're still good. They won't last good. They won't last forever. So we broke one of those out for this expedition. Do I think that that smell is what a Bigfoot smells like? And do I think it's Bigfoot pheromones? Exactly?
Good night, Lady Wolf.
Night, Lady Wolf. No, I don't. I don't. Do I think that it's a novel scent that if there is something up there, regardless of its origins, that has some flesh and blood impulses, like the biological drives that every life form has? They need to eat, they like to fight in a lot of cases, and they like to breed. Is that going to appeal to that or trigger that? Maybe. I can tell you that we used one of those, and if anything, they've gotten more pungent with age. And we got activity right after. I mean, that smell went all through that mountainside, and we had weird stuff start to happen like immediately. So what does that mean? I don't know. Was it weird timing? I don't know. So,
but we are with the tradition of us doing these films. Joe and I are doing a lanyap, right?
What's a lanyap?
We're doing a lanyap. Are you and I going one last hurrah?
Oh no! As far as like going back in solo for a while, yeah. absolutely. We're going back in like solo a couple times. We're going to actually get Brooke on the show one night, and we're going to get Steve Strange on the show one night, and we'd
like to officially introduce everybody kind of to the audience, to the group, to the family. And then we'll get their take on what they experienced out there and what kind of how they felt about it.
Yeah. And Lady Wolf, before she left, put up, if you do enjoy this content, and if you just want to support two people who are trying to take an honest stab at figuring this stuff out, consider becoming a YouTube member. Our content's not as heavy and prolific as it normally is right now, because again, we are doing these big expeditions, but we couldn't be doing these big expeditions without the help of like the Hellbent Holler member community. So if you, for the price of a Happy Meal once a month, you can sponsor a couple of wayward Bigfoot hunters at that point. So
you're quite the salesman, Joseph.
I am the salesman.
Pork Chop Express. Here's to exploring many more mountains named after bodily fluids.
It's so weird out there. Blood Mountain, Slaughter Mountain.
Yes.
Just the names there are just so, evocative of like weird, bloody weird stuff. So, all right, let's see what else we got here real quick. We're going to hit this chat and catch up here real quick. See if anybody's got anything last minute they want to throw back in. We should be.
And then I'm gonna head back into the old editing bay, boys, because I've got a lot of work to do.
We can worse this, man. I'd love some of those scent chips. They stopped making them. I don't know why they stopped making them.
We're still trying to get some Gorilla Pea here.
We were still trying to get Gorilla Pea and like make our own.
The way you look, I'm looking at you on the screen. You look so mischievous when you said that, because your glasses were down here and you just went like this. Can you see me on the screen? We're just trying to get some Gorilla Pea.
Just out here trying to get
some. That's what you look like.
Trying to get some Gorilla Pea,
man.
So Just found you guys. Love the channel. Share your channel with your coworker.
Welcome, Crypt Magic.
Welcome, and welcome to your coworker, Crypt Magic. JD, my buddy JD, Jesse, whatever room you have that mirror in. Jesse has a girl that was trying to offload. Do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, I mentioned it on the debrief last night.
Jesse, we came across a lady on a random non-paranormal based Facebook group locally.
And it was yes,
trying to get rid of a possessed mirror. Haunted mirror.
Possessed.
And she wanted to be upfront that whoever took it, what they were in for. So we were instantly like, well, Jesse was instantly just like, I'll take it. And then the post disappeared. And we were like, all right, maybe they were just pulling people's legs and just having some fun. And then the lady reached out to Jesse going, I had to take the post down.
Yeah.
People were just making fun of it too much and giving me too much grief. But we're still in the process of finding out why she thinks this mirror is haunted, what activity she's experienced with it. And then we're going to get it, bring it home, slap a camera on it overnight and see if any we already have weird stuff happening in the house.
I'm trying to figure out how to line up our schedule so we can take possession of said mirror.
Yeah. So we're going to try to get a haunted mirror, throw that in the, as if it wasn't weird enough.
You know, what's interesting, this is another little aside that we're not going to put this in the film just because we didn't film this or anything. Another aside talking about this paranormal aspect of this. On 2 nights, so we would get back from doing these investigations at like 5 in the morning. Every night that we were like out there, we were out there super late. We'd get back about 5 in the morning. I would make hamburgers at 5 in the morning, and then we would try to get some sleep through the next day and then go back out on another expedition. On 2 nights, and Steve can attest to this, Brooke can as well. On 2 nights that we got back, we all were in the living room. We were about to eat our delicious burgers, and we heard noises outside. We heard this on 2 of those nights that we were out there, and it sounded like something knocking on the side of the cabin. So could it be hitchhiker effect? Could it be something, you know, because we were staying a distance away from where we were investigating. So it's quite interesting that we had that happen on 2 of those nights that we were out there investigating. It was so jarring, and it was like so just blatant that Joe ran outside. The guys ran outside each time it happened.
And you know, it could have been anything. It could have, but it just was weird. Stone Raven says, didn't that perfume the post office too? The Sasquatch pheromone chips did not cause any problems.
We had a problem with the wolf pee. We had a problem with the bobcat pee.
And then our Dogman lore, that we've got to get back in touch with the gentleman that made the Dogman lore for us. But the wolf lore, and I've told the story before, but we wanted to, we're looking for Dogman. Do we think that Dogman's an upright wolf? I don't know. It's got wolf characteristics, canine characteristics. Let's use a lure made for wolves. And I don't know anything about trapping wolves. The hell, man. So I look online and I'm trying to like research wolf scent, wolf lore. And it turns out there was this guy who was like, I don't know, like the Michelangelo of wolf lures, you know what I'm saying? Back when trapping was really big. Well, you know, as wolves died out in most states, trapping kind of went away. Now wolves have been reintroduced, and they immediately became problems for people's livestock. So wolf trapping has started back up. So this dude's, I think it's his grandsons or whatever, used the old family formula and started the lure company back up. So I got in touch with him, and I'm like, I want to order some wolf lore. How do I do that? You know, like, hey, you know, this is what you do. Y'all got a lot of wolves in South Carolina? And I'm going, I don't know. We got something in South Carolina. So we ordered some wolf lore, and we had a P.O. box at the time. And our friend at the post office called us and went, I don't know what the hell you guys got delivered here, but you need to come pick it up like now, like right now. We got there. This wolf lore is so pungent. It's in bad. These glass vials.
It was so bad.
The caps are wrapped with like electric tape. They're in like great value freezer bags, like 3 of them. And then it's wrapped and boxed. Real homemade kind of like.
It didn't leak, but it was.
It didn't leak, but you could smell it through that, man. That stuff's wild. But that's what almost, that and then the Dogman lure that a guy made for us who's a.
So we don't have a P.O. box anymore.
We don't have a P.O. box anymore. And the place that we could get our mail at, we can't get our mail there anymore. So.
Welcome to the membership, Robert Stanley Jr.
Robert Stanley was a member once before too, if I remember correctly.
Welcome back to the
Welcome
game,
back to the
kid.
fold.
All right,
To
we're
the
gonna wrap this up, I think. All
Yep.
right.
We're gonna go get something to eat here. We should be back to normal schedule at this point.
Yeah.
We should be back to getting.
What did I just see?
Yeah, we should be getting back to like normal schedule on this. We are going to. We're in the home stretch on getting this last doc done. I've
got to edit.
We've got over 2 terabytes of video footage right now that Jesse's got to parse.
I got to
through.
go into the psycho zone now. So, good. Everybody say a little prayer for Joseph.
We're doing one interview with a gentleman who is very tied into the activity in that area.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do probably at least 2 more solo investigations up there. So it's going to be Jesse going crazy. Jesse going crazy. There may just be me one Tuesday night while Jesse like.
I'm trying to get off of. So when I edit, I eat a lot of gummy bears and like sour worms and chamoy watermelon rings. I'm trying to stay off of those for this, so it's going to be a struggle, but something magic is going to happen. Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Let's wrap it up. We're going to go eat some sushi, and then Jesse's going to edit till like 3 a.m. So
I want to thank you guys for joining us on our great return to Hellbent Live. I want to remind you guys, stay dangerous. Have fun.
Don't let some jackball.
Don't let the jackballs get you down.
Or tell you what to think.
This is our big piece of advice.
That's our big advice. Don't let the jackballs get you down. Don't let some jackball on the internet, on Facebook, like try to bully you into like. And same goes for here, man. If you think that Bigfoot's just a big monkey, you're welcome to be here. You might be right. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? If you think Bigfoot's on the Star Council, maybe. I don't know, man. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Good job, Joe. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you, guys. We appreciate y'all. Thank you for all the super chats tonight. You guys really outdid yourselves. You guys are amazing. Going to be a lot of boiled peanuts, Joseph. Dill pickle boiled peanuts. You know that's a thing? I do now. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for all of the awesome questions and all of the insight that you guys offer to us every single Tuesday night. We're going to miss y'all. Until next time.
Yep.
Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Hellbent out!